Episode 7. The Return of Jesus. A promise by his brother in faith Muhammad. May peace be upon them. Restoration, completion, and the end of deception. In the name of God, the one God of Abraham. In the previous episode, we examined a claim, not a challenge to Jesus, but a claim to restore his message. We tested that claim by the standard Jesus himself set. Today, we turn to what comes next. Not the end of Jesus' story, but its completion. Part 1. Did Jesus speak of his return? Before we ask what Islam teaches about the future, we must begin where integrity requires. With Jesus himself. In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 30, Jesus says, "Then will appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory." This is not metaphor. It is visible, future-oriented, and spoken by Jesus himself. Later, standing before the Sanhedrin, under oath, Jesus says, "You will see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power and coming on the clouds of heaven." Matthew 26:64. After his departure, the expectation remains. In the book of Acts, chapter 1, the disciples are told, "This same Jesus, who has been taken from you into heaven, will come back in the same way you have seen him go." Jesus' story is left open. A return is expected. Part 2, authority belongs to God alone. Yet Jesus is clear about something else. He does not claim control over the timing. In Matthew chapter 24, verse 36, Jesus says, "But about that day or hour no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father." Jesus distinguishes between himself and God. The return is God-directed. Authority remains with God alone. Part 3. What the New Testament leaves unresolved. The Gospels tell us that Jesus will return, but they do not tell us how deception will arise, how false messianic claims will appear, how global justice will be restored, or how worship will be purified again. Christian theology has debated this for centuries. Revelation is symbolic, timelines are contested, interpretations differ. This is not an accusation. It is simply the state of the text. Part 4. Islam does not introduce a new Jesus. Now, and only now, we turn to Islam. Islam does not introduce a different Jesus. It preserves the same returning Jesus, but clarifies his role. Jesus is not replaced. He is returned. Part 5. What Muhammad taught about Jesus' return. According to early, sound sources, including Sahih al-Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught that Jesus will return before the end of time. He will confront and defeat the Dajjal, the great deceiver. He will restore justice and truth, and he will break false claims of divinity. Importantly, Muhammad does not occupy this role. The Mahdi does not occupy this role. Jesus does. Jesus stands at the decisive moment of history. Part 6. The role of Muhammad in the final religion. Islam does not present Muhammad, peace be upon him, as a marginal figure. It presents him as the final messenger, the one through whom religion was perfected. The Quran declares, "Today I have perfected for you your religion, completed my favor upon you, and chosen Islam as your way." Quran 5:3. Muhammad's role was not to rule the end of time. It was to deliver the complete, final form of worship, belief, law, ethics, and practice, for all humanity. That mission was completed in his lifetime. And that is why no prophet comes after him. Part 7. Why Muhammad does not return. Muhammad does not return at the end of time, not because his role was lesser, but because it was complete. He sealed prophethood. He delivered the final law. Nothing further was required from him. Jesus' role, however, was left open in the gospel narrative, and so Jesus returns, not to bring new law, not to found a new religion, but to restore truth and defeat deception. Different roles. One mission. Part 8. The religion Jesus will practice. When Jesus returns, he will not bring a new religion. He will not adopt doctrines that emerged after him. He will worship God as he always did, the one God of Abraham. That worship, that submission to God alone, has a name in Islam. Islam, not as a label, but as a description. Submission to the one God. Islam does not teach that Jesus became Muslim later. It teaches that Jesus was always a Muslim, one who submitted to God's will. As the Quran states, he was neither Jew nor Christian, but one who submitted to God. Quran 3:67. When Jesus returns, he will live as he always lived, as a servant of God. He will break false divinity. He will uphold God's law. That way of life is Islam. Part 9. Completion, not competition. Islam does not replace the religion of Jesus. It names it, it preserves it, and it completes it. Jesus does not return as founder of something new, but as restorer of what was always true. Closing. Muhammad, peace be upon him, perfected the religion. Jesus, peace be upon him, completes the story of history. Neither replaces the other. Both serve the same God. One delivers the final law. One defeats the final deception. And God alone is worshipped. Truth before tribe. Two brothers. One mission, one God.